Why is the Vice President of the United States talking about an alien invasion? That's the question I asked myself this week after seeing JD Vance on Benny Johnson's podcast saying that he's obsessed with UFOs and that he plans to get to the bottom of it.
You're going to release all the UFO files?
We're working on it. It's funny. When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files. And then you start getting really busy worrying about the economy and national security and things like that. But I've still got 3 more years as vice president. I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
But interestingly, he seems to think that there's something else going on with the alien phenomena, that they might actually be demons.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
The way that JD Vance tells it, there's something that is happening in our skies, and he doesn't necessarily attribute that to extraterrestrials. He thinks that it's the war between heaven and hell bleeding out onto the battlefield of the real.
Well, look, I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything as otherworldly, to describe it as aliens. I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there. And there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, you know, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
It's not even the first time he's talked about this. On a different podcast in 2025, he said this. It's interesting. I wouldn't say that I do or don't believe it. I'm a big believer that there are things out there that we can't explain. And so if another person sees an alien, maybe I see an angel or a demon. So I'm a big believer that there are like spiritual forces working on the physical world that a lot of us don't see and a lot of us don't understand and a lot of us don't appreciate.
Trust me, I'm obsessed with this. I've already had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, we're going to Area 51. We're going out to New Mexico. We're going to sort of get to the bottom of this. And then the timing of the trip just didn't work out. But trust me, anybody who's curious about this, I'm more curious than anybody. And I've got 3 years of the very, very tippy top of the classification. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so you haven't been to Area 51 yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
I guess it's really hard to do what you want when you're the vice president of the United States. I mean, like, top of the list, obviously, has got to be the economy. Let's say the war in Iran right after that. And like somewhere down the list is the metaphysical position of all of humanity in the grand cosmic battle between angels and demons. I guess that's just not his main priority of figuring out right now. But he does believe it kind of, enough to talk about it on podcasts at least. Actually go there and figure it out is a different story, but he says he's got 3 years. Where is he getting any of these ideas from? That's a great question. I mean, he's certainly not the first Christian to directly attribute the UFO phenomena to angels and demons. The most prevalent idea of that could be found in books like this, Alien Intrusion, published in 2004 by Creation Ministries International, which goes into detail about how UFOs are actually just the satanic cover-up for what's really going on, which is, of course, demons coming in, abducting humans, and messing around with human history. They attribute some grand satanic conspiracy to the entire thing. This book is filled with crazy passages talking about how medical rituals are actually just forms of demonic control, how New Age UFO cults are actually just satanic belief that's trying to trick people into believing that evolution is true, because obviously if evolution's true, then why wouldn't there be a hyper-evolved alien species out there? So aliens are just more evidence that Satan uses to disguise the fake evolutionist agenda. Now, it's possible that JD Vance has read that book or, watched the movie version, but I think it's probably more likely that he's getting his beliefs a little bit more directly than creationists from 20 years ago. He's surrounded by doomsday prophets today who are saying a similar kind of thing, most prominently Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is probably best known for making absolute bucket loads, a stupid amount of money on the co-creation of PayPal with Elon Musk. But now he spends his money in more interesting ways. For example, on his friend and fellow venture capitalist Jesse Mickles, who's the host of American Alchemy, a YouTube channel that regularly promotes incredibly tinfoil UFO theories. Thiel himself is well known for his dinnertime Antichrist talks, where he talks about the upcoming end of the world. The idea to him that UFOs are demonic manifestations of this encroaching end times is not a ridiculous leap in logic, and in fact, I'm sure he said something to the effect at some point.
The aliens It's not that they might be demons or angels. They must be demons or angels if you have faster than light travel. And both of those seem pretty crazy to me.
Well, they're definitely pretty crazy, but so are human beings.
Well, they're crazy in a very different way.
This is part of what's going into someone like JD Vance's thinking when he says something like this. He's not just saying it out of thin air. It's an idea that has existed in a space where he's almost certainly been at in the recent history, fresh in his mind. To me, I think Vance's interest in UFOs probably doesn't run anywhere near as deep as it does for somebody like the likes of Peter Thiel or Jesse Mickels or Creation Ministries International. I think he probably just likes UFOs. He's probably, like a lot of people, vaguely interested in it, but doesn't really consider it to be a high priority. He's probably aware on some rational level that when he does end up going to Area 51, he's probably not going to find anything. I think he probably just thinks it's a good topic to talk about on podcasts. And I mean, for him, it's pretty great. It's guaranteed to get clipped. It's guaranteed to get people talking about it. I certainly am. It's guaranteed to get articles written about it. But there's absolutely zero chance that it's going to affect the president's political agenda in any way. I mean, that's a completely different kind of alien. It's the perfect fluff story, really, and it's probably why the only times we've heard him talk about it are on podcast appearances. But him talking about it definitely feeds into this like larger milieu that he's part of, and runs a little bit of cover for people like Creation Ministries International or Peter Thiel. Unfortunately for them, I think they're pretty out of sync with the modern UFO movement. They're already people who are very shy about shadow money like Peter Thiel and politicians, and they prefer their more spiritual, new age, or, like me, completely secular beliefs in extraterrestrials. These are people who are more likely to believe that Jesus was an alien than that aliens are angelic, if you get what I mean. Most of them are coming from the other way. There's a whole conspiracy theory that Thiel and Vance are all part of some secret elite that are satanic in a different way, trying to cover up the very real existence of aliens so that we're unprepared when the invasion happens in 2027. He's not really getting the warm response that would give these people the cover that they want to get their agenda passed. So if you're worried about that, I wouldn't stress too much about it. That said, I do think there's negative consequences. I think flippant statements like this on the phenomenon water down the conversation. They make it seem like when he goes looking, he's going to find something, which he just isn't. He's not saying anything substantive, and he's not doing anything to dissuade anyone who's deeply entrenched in the belief system of whatever UFO neo-cult they found themselves in. He's not telling people, think critically about this, or I'm going to check into it, but I'm probably not going to find anything. He's saying, this is something interesting. This is something worth paying attention to. The Vice President of the United States is on your side when it comes to this. Just give me some time and I'll come back with something that agrees with you for sure. And this is the kind of thing that he just says and that the people around him just kind of say. I think it just does serve to misinform the general public about the topic as well, presenting it as somehow more evidence than it really is, because, I mean, the vice president's looking into it, and therefore kind of hinders further study. I mean, why would I look into it? The guy with the tippy top level classification clearance is going to do it for me, right?
Very tippy top.
That sort of just leaves us with the fundamental question. Is he right? Is it true that unidentified anomalous phenomena are really a secret war between heaven and hell that's been playing out since the Book of Job, infringing on our reality in the moments at which the conflict is most intense, or demons looking to infiltrate humanity and lead us down a bad path? I mean, maybe, right? He should definitely look into it.
I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
Have you peeked? Have you done a peek?
So I actually haven't.
Full Independence Day.
I have not been able to spend enough time on this to really understand it. But I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
Okay. I've been given the wrap, but here we go. I can't let you go without one final question. The last question.
All right.
Will you use the discombobulator?
I cannot talk about the discombobulator. That's highly classified, Benny.
This is my job to ask these kind of questions. Will you use the discombobulator?
Man, you just asked the question. You just asked it in a different way to try to trick me. I'm not nearly as easy to trick, but look, I cannot talk about the discombobulator.
Will you use the discombobulator?
As you might have been able to guess, I'm a little bit interested in the UFO phenomena. I think it sits at an interesting intersection between what we know and what we can know. As a result, it gives us lots of interesting opportunities to talk about science and the human mind, as well as just where we are in the culture right now. UFOs are bigger than ever. I try not to get too deep into any belief system without seriously questioning it, so I'm probably a little bit more skeptical than most. But I think that too gives an interesting insight. If you're interested at all in UFOs, the paranormal, or anything related to anomalous phenomena, I hope that I've captured your interest enough that you'd stick around. Certainly, I'm always looking for things to investigate and talk about. If you have any suggestions, then feel free to leave them. Otherwise, I'd appreciate support in the form of a subscription or a like, even a comment on the video telling me what I got wrong. All that to say, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.